Hey folks, Prof Psych here. Nice to see you. Don't forget, Instagram, follow Prof Psych and subscribe on YouTube. Lots more videos coming. So today we're going to have a really short, sweet video in the memory topic, looking at the concept of coding, capacity and duration in those three types of memory from my previous video in sensory memory, short-term and long-term memory. Now, here then, let's deal just with sensory memory. This is a lovely little grid just to learn and to memorize. Nice memory joke there. Okay, for you in terms of easy knowledge, AO1 knowledge to show the examiner. Okay, so I'm going to deal just with sensory memory. Remember, this is information coming in from our senses. Okay, and the question is coding, capacity, duration, how much, what type, and so on. Okay, so sensory memory. The idea here is that coding is mainly iconic and echoic. In other words, we have five senses. Okay, we can also touch and smell and so on. But the majority of the information, just like you are doing now watching this video, is coming in through sight, iconic, okay, and through sound. You can hear my voice, echoic. All right, that's the biggest chunk of information comes in via our senses. Okay. The capacity of the sensory memory is big, large, huge, vast, whatever word you want to describe, but the capacity of the sensory memory is really big, okay? Let's think this through. I'm driving down the motorway, okay, 60 miles an hour, all right, I'm in the middle lane, there's traffic on my left, busy, there's traffic on my right, there's 3 lanes coming the other way, and so on and so on. There's a lot going in. I take most of that in by sight, don't I? And I'm hearing stuff and so on. But, okay, I don't get overloaded. I can take in a very, very huge amount of information and be processing it in sensory memory all the time. But the question, of course, is for how long? Now, this is an approximate answer. It does vary a little bit between iconic and echoic coding. But in general terms, somewhere around half a second, okay? In other words, I can take in a lot of information, like my driving example, but actually I can't retain very much of it for very long at all. Remember, in our multi-store model of memory, to be able to process it more and retain it longer, it would have to be paid attention to. So I'm really noticing the brake lights in front of me, the car in front. But now, beyond the duration of half a second, I'm now processing that in the short-term memory. Okay, let's move to the short-term memory. The short-term memory coding is mainly acoustic. Now, this is a strange concept, and it's one I want to come back to, okay? But for the moment, I just want you to think it's mainly acoustic. Now, the basic explanation here is we've processed information, it's come in through our senses, we've paid attention to it, and we're now coding it into short-term memory. Here, very much because we're thinking about it and we're almost articulating it in our thoughts, okay? We'll come back to a study by Badley in another video to demonstrate this. The capacity of the short-term memory is seen to be, capacity, remember, means how much. Capacity is 7 plus or minus 2 items of information, okay? So 7 is this kind of magic number, but we're not always going to remember exactly 7. 7 minus 2, maybe it drops a bit to 5. 7 plus 2, maybe sometimes we go as high as the capacity being 9, okay? Another Jacob's digit spanning we'll come to later for that, okay? Duration of the short-term memory, well, it's from this short period of around half a second and goes up to a maximum of somewhere, the absolute maximum of 30 seconds, but probably somewhere between 20 to 30 seconds as a maximum duration, okay? Coding in the long-term memory is mainly semantic, when we're able to really give things meaning and therefore to rehearse them, to store them deeper into long-term memory. The capacity of long-term memory, so how much can we keep in long-term memory, is theoretically unlimited, okay? In other words, I don't fill up my long-term memory. somebody tells me a fact today, or I learn something new, a new word in Spanish, or a new thing to play on the piano, whatever it might be. Well, I haven't filled up the capacity of my long-term memory. I can keep adding to it. Theoretically, it's unlimited. Duration, for how long can I keep things in long-term memory? Well, my grandfather, bless him, who died at 104, what a remarkable life, he could still remember things right up, well beyond his hundreds. He could remember things from his childhood. So, the duration of long-term memory is potentially up to our lifetime, okay? Years and years and years, all right? Theoretically, some things we never forget, okay? Now, learn this grid. There's a lot of research to support this, but I'm going to present that to you in the next videos, okay? So keep your eyes on those. But this grid, just learn it, memorize it, understand it. You're going to get exam questions like this. Well, look, it is the grid, isn't it? But what the examiners will try and do, here all you have to do is to label for 4 A-level marks, okay? You have to label A, B, C and D. But look at how they try and trick you. They've changed the memory types, the memory stores, and now they've changed in the table the other way, and they've changed the order of capacity, duration and coding. Remember, in the exam, you'd have over 4 minutes to work this out. Let's go back. If you know that grid, you can easily do a question like that. Okay, folks, that's short and sweet for those types of coding. How do we take things into memory? Capacity, how much can we keep in any one store? And duration, for how long? Don't forget to follow Prof Psych on Instagram, little interesting snippets, and to subscribe on YouTube. Keep it up, folks. Work hard.